A soft hush settled over the practice room long before dawn's first light dared to slip through the high windows. It was just past 4:27 a.m. Time measured not by clocks but by the steady hum of air conditioners and the distant twinkle of Seoul's skyline. Empty water bottles clinked like tiny bells in the corners, and a single stray spotlight, left on overnight, cast an amber glow along the scuffed wooden floor. In that stillness, the world beyond these walls felt impossibly distant. Slowly, almost reverently, Jungkook pushed open the door. He moved as if through water, each step deliberate. His trademark smile, radiant on stage, was muted here, replaced by a quiet gravity. A loose strand of hair fell across his forehead, and he reached up, paused, then let it be. Across the room, Jimin sat cross-legged, hands wrapped around a worn notebook. His eyes, usually bright with mischief, were soft, clouded by memories he hadn't meant to revisit. For a heartbeat, time itself seemed to hold its breath. They had known each other since their teens, two dreamers who first met under flickering fluorescent lights during auditions. Over the years, they had shared laughter that echoed down concert halls and tears that no camera ever caught. But today, neither spoke. Their connection spoke in sighs and glances, in the weight of unspoken words. Jungkook paused 3 paces away, chest tightening. His voice, when it came, was almost a whisper. "Why are you so far away?" Jimin looked up, surprise flickering in his dark eyes. He traced the edge of his notebook, then closed it with a soft snap. I'm scared, Cook," he confessed. "Scared you'll drift away when I can't be the person you need me to be." In that instant, a stray beam of morning light caught the fine dust dancing between them. It was as if the universe had reserved this moment, spotlighting their vulnerability. Jungkook swallowed. He remembered the boy who once found solace in Jimin's laughter, the friend who stitched together his confidence with gentle words. He took a careful step forward, closing the gap. "I'm not going anywhere," he said, voice trembling with fierce resolve. He lifted a hand, an invitation, and Jimin raised his own. Their fingertips met, hesitated, then intertwined, warm and reassuring. It was a simple gesture, but in that silent embrace of hands, they shared decades of unvoiced truths. The burden of expectations, the ache of exhaustion, the defiant hope that had carried them this far. From the corner of the room, a lone witness, a junior dancer who had stayed late to retrieve her shoe, watched through the open door. She later told a friend, "I thought I was imagining things at first. But when I saw how they held onto each other, it was like two souls finding harbor after a storm." Her words spread on social media. They weren't idols then. They were just two hearts, exposed and real. And fans around the world, reading her post, felt their own hearts stir. "I've never seen them more human." At Starlit Dreamer, this is what true friendship looks like. A netizen. Outside, a gentle breeze rustled the curtains. It carried the distant bark of a street vendor and the faint echo of early traffic, but inside, time had folded in on itself. Jungkook gently guided Jimin toward the center of the floor, the spotlight now their silent audience. Without words, they traced steps of a choreography they had practiced 1,000 times, yet this dance felt entirely new. Each movement was infused with raw emotion, a reach that spoke of longing, a pivot that whispered of release, a final hold that promised unwavering support. When the dance ended, Jimin's shoulders shook, and Jungkook cradled him in an embrace that resonated with every memory they'd built together. "Thank you," Jimin murmured into Jungkook's shoulder. "For staying." Jungkook pressed his cheek to the top of Jimin's head. "Always," he replied. Then he pulled back just enough to meet Jimin's eyes. "We'll carry these scars as proof that we survived. Not as weaknesses, but as badges of who we are." By the time producers and stylists arrived an hour later, expecting to find an empty studio, they instead discovered two brothers bound by something deeper than any script or stage direction. Word of that morning leaked quickly, first through the junior dancers' tweet, then via a handful of fan accounts that pieced together a narrative far richer than any tabloid rumor. And though mainstream outlets chose caution, BTS's most devoted, the ARMY, swiftly pieced together the fragments. In a world obsessed with perfection, they showed us the beauty of truth. At Moonchild_92, I cried, not because they're idols, but because they're human. Fan comment: what happened off camera that Dawn did more than mend two hearts? It reopened a dialogue about vulnerability in a culture that prizes strength above all. Managers spoke quietly of scheduling changes, moments carved out for honest conversation. Fellow members shared their relief, joking that they, too, would barter for a few private hours. Even fans, once content to idolize from afar, began to place more value on empathy and understanding. Reflecting on that moment, one music critic wrote, "The real performance wasn't in the glimmering arenas but in the dimly lit room where courage met compassion." And perhaps that is the lesson that transcends this single story, that behind every public persona lies a private truth longing to be heard. In the days that followed, the world moved on to new headlines. But somewhere, in quiet corners and dormitory hallways, Jungkook and Jimin carried forward their pact, a promise to speak fear into hope, to honor tears as much as triumphs. Their relationship, like the morning light that finally filled that practice room, reminded everyone that healing often begins in the spaces unseen. May we all find the courage to step into our own empty rooms, turn off our flashing lights, and face the truths we hide. For in the stillness, we discover not only our wounds but also the enduring power of human connection, and the hope that, at any moment, we can choose to reach out and say, "I'm here. You are not alone."